Let's talk about the Memphis Grizzlies. They've been playing really well lately. They caught my eye, and I said, you know what? Let's talk about them. And right before they turned his camera on, this tweet started going around of Malika Andrews interviewing Ja Morant and asked him, as he's taking a look around the league, what teams does he see as a team that the Memphis Grizzlies would have to go through, potentially on road to a championship. And he says out east, obviously the Boston Celtics, and he says no one in the West. And I wanted to touch on that first. I don't think that's crazy to say. And I don't really mean that the Memphis Grizzlies are head and shoulders above the rest of the competition in the Western Conference. I more so see it as I don't have a favorite in the Western Conference, and I don't know who's going to come out right now. I think it's fairly open in the West. I think some of the teams that we thought were going to be a powerhouse are moving a little bit slower than we thought they were going to be. I'm looking at the Warriors. I'm looking at the Clippers. Over this last week, even, I'm looking at the Suns. But there's a couple of things I want to touch on about the Memphis Grizzlies, show some love to some players, because they really have been hooping lately. So let's go ahead and get into this. So as of yesterday, when I took all this down, the Memphis Grizzlies are 19-10, number one in the Western Conference, currently 8-2 in their last 10 games. Now, this is what was impressive to me. They're top 5 team in offensive rating, top 2 in defensive rating, and have the best net rating in the NBA over the last 10 games. The biggest thing that steps out to me is that second in the league in terms of defensive rating. And what's been a huge part of that is the play from Jaren Jackson Jr. In that 10-game span, Jaren is averaging 16 points, 6 rebounds, little over 2.5 blocks. He's second in NBA in blocks in this last 10-game period, shooting 52% from the field, 41% from 3. I know I said a couple of weeks ago, Brook Lopez was leading in the Defensive Player of the Year race. I'm telling you right now, if Jaren Jackson was playing all season, it would be Jaren Jackson's award to lose. I think if he keeps this level of play up, he will probably get Defensive Player of the Year if he can play all season. The only reason he's not leading the deep point ladder right now is just because he missed a lot of games to start the season. He had that game against Atlanta like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, where he had 8 blocks, set a franchise record. But the biggest thing for me, though, outside, yes, he's blocking at a high rate for sure, and he's good at it and is impactful for his team. But the biggest piece for me when it comes to Jaren Jackson's defense is him staying on the floor because he's not fouling anymore. The biggest thing, and it's been an issue with him for years, we've talked about it over and over, but the biggest issue was these past couple of seasons was he couldn't stay on the floor. We would see flashes of the defense, but then he get in foul trouble because he was going for so many blocks. He's still getting the blocks now, so clearly he's still going for them, but I think he's just going about it. I've seen it. He's going about it in a smarter way. He's not trying to send every ball to the 8th row. I've seen him do some low-key Bill Russell type stuff where he's trying to block it to save it in bounds to get his teammate to create offense for others. Offensively, I like what I'm seeing too from him, especially that 3 ball. Like I said, in them last 10 games, it wasn't crazy volume, but he's 41% from 3. Let's see how well he can keep at least 35% up. Another nice piece I want to talk about is Dillon Brooks. He stepped up a lot since Desmond Banes went out. When Bane was playing up until about the 11th of November, he was averaging 15 points on 41% from the field, 39% from 3 on about 5 attempts. Since Bane's been out, he jumped up to 20 points a game, still 40% from the field, dropped down to 33% from 3, but he's around 8 attempts now. So he's taking 3 more attempts, so it's understandable that the percentage is lower, but it's nice to see that the scoring has increased a little bit. Ja Morant's still playing great. If you get nitpicky and look at some of his numbers compared to when Desmond Bane was on the court versus when he wasn't on the court, they are down a little bit, percentages-wise. Points are down, dropping a little bit. But I attribute that, at least when I'm watching the games, is there's more focus on him defensively, because if Desmond Bane's not out there, then the defense can focus in on Ja a whole lot more. Because I want to remind everybody what Desmond Bane was doing. Him and Ja, we're about to do something special this season. Hopefully he comes back soon. I don't really have a update on when he's coming back. I want to say they're not thinking anytime soon still. Like, it's still going to be a little while. I might be wrong there, but I can't really find anything recent. The last update I see is from early December when they were saying he might be available in 3 to 4 weeks, which would have been like the last week in December / one of the first couple of weeks in January. I haven't heard anything recently, so I don't know if that's still the timeline, but he was having a really, really good season. I remember the game earlier this year when him and Ja both went for 30, and he was just having a career year. 24 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 46% from the field, 45% from 3 on some pretty high volume as well. Craziest part to me, at least, about the Memphis Grizzlies, because Jaren Jackson Jr. missed to start the season. Desmond Bane is missing now. The big three, if you will, of Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, and Jaren Jackson haven't even played a game together yet this season. So I get Ja when he says he doesn't fear anybody on the West, because Steph Curry's out for a little bit with the Warriors, and even honestly when he was there, they weren't looking amazing. The Clippers, are they healthy? Can they play? That's the question you got to ask yourself every night. I'm liking what I'm seeing from the Nuggets, but not enough to say that the Nuggets are the guaranteed favorites to come out the Western Conference over the Grizzlies. I like what I see from the Pelicans, but once again, not enough to say they're guaranteed favorites. So what I'm seeing from the Grizzlies isn't enough to say they're guaranteed favorites either, but they're definitely one of the teams at the top of that conversation for me. And you get around to mention my guy Steven Adams, one of my favorite guys in the NBA for his on-court and off-court stuff. If you ever want to see a good interview, watch a Steven Adams interview. He does all the things you want just a strong center to do for your team. He sets great screens for Ja. He rebounds well. He honestly can be a big body in the at the center position that allows Jaren Jackson Jr. to roam around and play a little more free safety from time to time. But that also gives them the versatility sometimes to run small and run Jaren Jackson at the 5 as well. I just really like this team, man. I like what they've put together here. I like that a lot of their pieces, basically every piece, is young, and they have the opportunity to grow, to build. I'm not saying the Grizzlies are going to win the championship this year, but I think they're going to be in a conversation for at least the next 2-3. Am I too high? Am I too low? What are your thoughts on the Grizzlies? Let me know down in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.